I'm going to stall for just a minute. I'm not 100% sure Brian's ready for me. The door's shut. So I'm going to stall for just a minute. Good evening. We'll just look at each other awkwardly for for a minute or so. Everybody doing okay? Yeah. Like I need to warm up the crowd before class starts. Um, Format for tonight. I'm down here. This is going to be more lecture style than class style. Um, so if you raise your hand, I was not anticipating it. So if I keep going, it's nothing personal, but it's Wednesday night. It feels weird to be up there, so we're just going to do it from down here. We'll go ahead and start kind of moving through some of the material. Tonight is we're kicking off the summer series, so no adult classes for the next 6 weeks. We're going to be in here for all of them, and the high school class is going to join us for, I believe, this one and the last two. I believe the high school class is going to join us in here for those. If you haven't seen it yet, it's out there on the table in the foyer. This is the schedule for summer series. Tonight we're going to be talking about the hidden dangers of social media. So we've tried to kind of select some one-off topics for the summer series, some kind of unique stuff that didn't really fit anywhere else necessarily. And before I start, I want to let you know Sunday, July 1st, so Sunday, week and a half from now, we're going to be doing a chair session. I'm just asking questions, but Travis and Noah are going to be doing chair session on fasting. We've got some of the material and stuff laid out for that, but I'm soliciting questions. So if there is something, fasting is the thing where we feel like you're not supposed to talk about it because, at least in my experience, it's like, hey, when you fast, don't let anybody know. And then what we take that to mean is nobody ever talk about fasting. And so we don't want to do that. So if there are questions or topics, aspects of it that you would like to have covered, let me know or let one of them know, and they'll pass it on to me, and I will do my best to work it into the conversation. So tonight we're going to start a conversation about social media. As I prepared my thoughts for tonight, I came to a crossroads. Of the shepherds and of Noah, I'm by far the from my own personal experience in navigating the internet. The danger is that when people get a look at the inner workings of a shepherd's mind, they can either walk away thinking, wow, I didn't know how childish and shallow that guy was. Or you can walk away thinking, I'm glad he's honest with this and willing to be open and straightforward about his life. I hope you choose the second. I've got a lot of eggs in the basket of you choosing the second one. So let's get into it. As we talk about social media stuff, not everybody is a consumer. We're going to talk tonight about consuming and contributing to. So there's two aspects of it, because there's a lot of people that are very prolific on social media. They use it as an outlet to share their ideas and a creative space for them to navigate through the world. And then the other side of that pendulum are the cyber stalkers who never say anything, but they always know what you say, right? So you have consumers and contributors, and you have a lot of people that do both. And so I'm going to try to approach this from both angles tonight. We have a couple of things to talk about, but consuming product on social media and contributing ideas and comments on social media, and how both of those play into a Christian's life. And we need to acknowledge that social media, this is not a young people problem. Evidence for that is found in numerous studies that show that over 70% of people aged 50 to 64 and 57% of people 65 and older are on Facebook. 57% of people 65 and older. 40% of people aged 50 to 64 are on Instagram. This is not a young people thing. If you don't believe the statistics, anecdotal evidence is all around us. The next time you go to a restaurant, look around and see if the old people are on their phones. And they are, with a few notable exceptions. The old people are on their phones too. When you go to restaurants, it is not uncommon. It's not the young people who are sitting there on social media across from each other, ignoring each other. It is parents ignoring their children, and it is children with iPads in front of them ignoring their parents, and it is grandparents sitting at tables alone together, both looking at their phones. More evidence is found in the fact that numerous people have told me that the best part of my Facebook post is watching my 93-year-old grandmother mock me in the comments. She is a prolific user of Facebook, and for good reason. Social media is an opportunity for her. She doesn't get out a lot anymore. She's not traveling around the country visiting grandkids and great grandkids. It's a way for her to keep up with family. There's so many good things about what we're able to do with social media. And there's a few obvious things before we talk about the hidden dangers. There are a couple of obvious potential problems that are not so hidden. And so let's get those out of the way at the beginning. One, addictive or excessive use of social media that detracts from your well-being or your emotional health, or detracts from the time that you spend with your family. It is wrong, it's unfair to the people around you, and it's unhealthy for you. So right off the bat, if it is excessive or addictive use, that's off the table. Using social media to be intentionally hurtful to others does not reflect a spirit of love, joy, peace, patience, or kindness, or goodness. Those behaviors are off the table. While they may be very prevalent in the world, they're also obvious, and they're easily recognizable as sinful in nature. And so those are not the things. While they are a problem, we're going to address them by saying don't do that. And then we're going to go on to a couple of other things that are maybe not quite as obvious to everyone. If you're interested in educating yourself more about the addictive and destructive nature of social media, this is just a quick sidebar. Particularly among preteen and teenage people, I highly recommend the book, The Anxious Generation. It is both fascinating and terrifying. It is information dense. It is a very large book, and it reads like a textbook. And it is terrifying. It is not a United States problem. It is the studies that he goes into in the book have been replicated around the world. And the damage, the emotional and mental health damage that social media does to developing brains is tragic. And it is very dangerous. Sorry, young people, if your parents take your phones away from you after tonight. Now, the purpose of tonight, though, is not to talk about social media in a societal sense. That's not the goal. We're going to talk about some spiritual things. But if this is something that is an undeniable potential harm to our families and that can harm our children so badly, I think that it is conversations that we should be having. So if you'd like to have parking lot conversation about that later, I'd love to talk about some of the stuff that I found to be interesting and useful for parents. Aside from these easily recognizable works of the flesh, the addictive or excessive use, the cyberbullying or being intentionally harsh to other people online, aside from those easily recognizable works of the flesh, I'd like us to look at some of the less obvious potential dangers, the hidden dangers that we might not see at first. Not just the things that can hurt our brain, but the things that can harm our soul. And we're going to look at those from the aspect of consuming social media content and contributing to it. The first thing that we're going to talk about tonight is the idea, the notion of comparison. We do this in real life. So as I navigate life, whenever I go to work, whenever I go to the store, whenever I come to church, it is natural for people to want to compare themselves to other people. Uh, what, how they look, how they appear, how they dress, the clothes that they wear, the cars that they drive, the homes that they live in. When you go to the store, the food that they purchase. Um, the when our kids were little, the joke was like you can tell what tier you are in society by whether you buy your cereal in a bag or a box. We were bag cereal people, right? And so you buy 5 pounds of cereal in a giant bag instead of a little bit of cereal in a box. And you compare, when it comes to what kind of package your cereal is in, you compare yourself to other people. That is a thing that people do. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about me. About 10 years ago, we remodeled our house. This is where it gets dangerous for me. We remodeled our house about 10 years ago. We added 1,200 square feet to a 1,400 square foot house. We fixed some things that we didn't like about it that weren't optimal. It's a project I had wanted to do for a real long time. And about the time that I was really like wanting to start the remodel, if you remember about 10 years ago, remodeling TV shows were very popular. So there was a plethora of reality style remodeling TV shows on TV. And I could not watch them. You would think someone who's very interested in remodeling their house would want to consume remodeling content. And I was completely unable to do it, which eliminated about 35% of TV shows for me. I didn't just get frustrated or sad. As a father and a husband who wanted to provide something better for my family, the emotions that I felt manifested as anger. And it manifested as anger because of comparison, because I would look at these people like, why does that guy get to remodel his house? I'm a better dad than him. I'm a better husband than him. I don't know anything about him. I just assume that I am better than these people on the inside, and so I should have the better outside things too. And it made me covetous about what other people had. And that was wrong. And we all see that. It's when I tell you that story, just at first blush, you're like, well, yeah, obviously, like, don't do that. Don't be that kind of person. That's not hidden at all. But what do we do? So that was 10 years ago. That was reality TV shows 10 years ago. But today, in context of social media, what do we do when we see other people doing things that we weren't invited to? And that hits a little closer to home. Because I have a party at my house, I invite people over, and I share pictures online of the good time that we had. And the problem is I share them with all of the internet. And all of the internet is a whole lot of people. And that's a whole lot of people that weren't invited. And you see things that you want to go do or you want to participate in. It's so common, this feeling of missing out, the fear of missing out is so common. We have an acronym for it. We have a generation that is debilitated by FOMO, by the fear of missing out. Some of the stuff that I read in preparing this, over 70% of Gen Z reports on a normal basis a consuming feeling of FOMO. It is a normal thing, a daily emotion that they feel is they feel like they're missing out. And why do we feel like we're missing out? The only way to feel that we're missing out is by comparing ourselves to other people, right? The only way that I know that I'm missing out is by knowing what you're doing. And the way that we know what other people doing these days, because if I didn't invite Jimmy, I also wouldn't come tell him, hey, we had a great time and I didn't invite you. Pre-social media, he wouldn't have known, but now he does. We get this debilitating anxiety as a result of social media. Comparison is not always about wanting a thing, is the point. For me, I wanted a thing. And the way that I reacted to it was wrong. It can also be about others that have a friend group or a friendship or a relationship that someone else has that I want. And I see it, and it becomes consuming because I see what other people have and I want it. Social media has the dangerous ability to show us all the things that we wish we had that are good things to want. Like, don't get me wrong, a friendship, a relationship, to be included in a group, an opportunity to remodel your house for your family, all those are good things. But what social media has the tendency to do is to inundate us with what seems like a mountain of evidence that everyone has it but me. Because you know what people are not doing on social media? What they're not doing is posting pictures of themselves all alone. And I look at myself in the mirror and see that I'm all alone tonight. The only evidence that I have through social media, the only potential evidence that I have about what the rest of the world looks like is that everyone else has a million friends and they always have a great time. Because nobody posts the sad stuff and nobody posts the lonely stuff. And so the evidence that we're inundated with is one, it's false. It's a false look at what the world really looks like. And two, it can be dangerous because it leads us to covetous comparisons. We start thinking everyone has it but me. When considering how we consume social media, we have to be wary of the dangers of non-material comparisons and covetousness. Now, what's the solution for that? Like, it's easy to point out problems, but what do you do about them? Well, the solution is a change of heart. The solution is to be content in the station that you are in life right now. Contentment is the solution. Like, well, gee, thanks. Like, hey, you're sad. Stop being sad. Like that, saying that is also not solving the problem right now. That can be a long and difficult process. Changing a heart is hard. Until then, we can do what I did with remodeling reality TV shows that prompted my feelings of covetousness. You know what you do? Is you turn off the TV. Like, I would just tell Megan, I was like, I'm sorry, you can watch this tomorrow while I'm at work, but I can't watch this. Now, that may seem at first glance like, well, Eric, you're not actually fixing the problem, you're just avoiding the problem. Yeah, absolutely. Like, you remember the story of Joseph, right? Where he turned and fled. Potiphar's wife was like, hey, why don't you come here? And he says, no. I'm going to run away now. I'm going to avoid the thing that is potential temptation. In Hebrews, the 12th chapter, in verse 1, the Hebrew writer says, therefore, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us also lay aside every weight and sin which clings so closely, and let us run with endurance the race which is set before us. Social media can be a good thing, but in some situations, at some times in our lives, it can be a weight that keeps us from running the race with endurance. So what do we do with the weight that holds us back? You lay it aside. And if you find yourself in a situation where social media, consuming social media content becomes a weight, the answer is to turn it off. The answer is to cast it aside by just stepping away from it. I will give you a non-sinful example of me. Round Rock Donuts. I don't know if by profession I'm inclined to like them. I don't know if it's nature or nurture, but Round Rock Donuts that's my thing. I can abstain from Round Rock Donuts. If there's a box of them on the table, I cannot eat Round Rock Donuts. I can walk away from them, and they can sit there and I can just ignore them. What I can't do is eat one Round Rock donut, right? So if I'm going to eat one, I will eat 5. I can't eat one, but I can just avoid them. And so what I do is I choose. Today, am I going to eat 5 donuts and be miserable? Or am I going to have none? And that's what we need to do sometimes, is just decide, listen, this is not something that my personality right now, I can't control my feelings about this. So I just have to completely avoid it. And sometimes that may be the answer when we are consuming some social media content. When we think about contentment, um, we think about the writings of Paul, and usually in relation to material things. Paul says in Philippians 4, starting in verse 10, I rejoiced in the Lord greatly that now at length you have revived your concern for me. You were indeed concerned for me, but you had no opportunity. For not that I'm speaking of being in need, for I have learned in whatever situation I am to be content. I know how to be brought low, and I know how to abound. In any and every circumstance, I have learned the secret of facing plenty and hunger, abundance and need. I can do all things through him who strengthens me. 1 Timothy 6, Paul says, but godliness with contentment is great gain. For we brought nothing into the world, and we cannot take anything out of the world. But if we have food and clothing, with these we will be content. All of these things are about stuff. He says there, the love of money is the root of all evil. But look at what Paul says in 2 Corinthians 12 and verse 10. When speaking of contentment, so often, like we say the solution to these things is contentment. Be content. But when we think of contentment too often, we think of it purely in physical terms. In 2 Corinthians 12 and verse 10, Paul says, for the sake of Christ, then, I am content with weaknesses, insults, hardships, persecutions, and calamities. Y'all, that's not all stuff. What Paul's talking about, when Paul tells the church at Corinth, I have learned contentment, he's not just talking about things, he's talking about people. Insults and persecutions are not about stuff. Insults and persecutions are about people and his relationship with other people, how they treat him and how he has to interact with other people. And he says, in these situations, these relationships with people, I've had to learn contentment. Contentment is not just about stuff, it's about people. It's about our relationships. It's about us feeling like we are missing out on opportunities. Short-term solution, sometimes we just have to step away from the source of that anxiety. Long-term solution is to learn contentment. The position that we've been put in financially and materially, that is a situation that we're in that we're called to find contentment with. The situation that we are put in with our family and friendships, the relationships that we have with other people, those are also times to seek contentment. In context of comparisons, comparing ourselves to other people and what they have, we'll also talk about contributing to social media. So all this is about like what I see other people doing, but what about the things that I give you to look at? When it comes to contributing to social media, a hidden danger is that if we're not careful, we create an atmosphere of comparison when we share very carefully curated pieces of our lives with the intention of painting a picture that would invite an unfair comparison. Now, what I'm not saying is to not share good things that are happening in your life. We're commanded to rejoice with those who rejoice. If your house is cleaned, you don't have to make a mess in the background before you take family photos. If the house is clean, the house is clean. Good for you. Post pictures of your clean house, of your happy family, of your fun vacation. Do all of those things. There's a difference, though, and we have to acknowledge, like, motive matters. There is a difference between posting good news and nice things and fun vacations because we're happy and we want to share them, and posting good news and nice things and fun vacations because we want people to think about us in a certain way. Those are two different things. I want to share my experience with you as one way. I want to make you jealous of my experience as something very, very different. And that's a good litmus test, I think, to help us gauge if the content that we're creating when we share things on social media, might this invite dangerous, unhealthy comparisons? The question that we can ask ourselves before contributing to social media, do we hope that other people will be envious of what we have or what we're doing? I think that is a very fair question to ask. Do I hope this will make other people jealous? Do I hope other people will look at this and wish that they also had it? If the answer to that, and only you know the answer to that question, if the answer is no, carry on. I love vacation pictures. I post them as a diary for me, because 1 year from today, you know what I'm going to get? After I post it 1 year, it pops back up and I get to relive the vacation. I love posting vacation pictures, and I love seeing your vacation pictures. So if you ask yourself, and only you know, am I posting this because I want other people to know how well off I am? Do I want other people to see what I'm doing and be jealous? Ask that question. If the answer is no, go for it. But if the answer is yes, stop. I want to make one disclaimer real quick. This is not an accusation of anyone here. If it were, I wouldn't be saying it from right here. If I felt like Jimmy's not on, I use Jimmy as my example. Jimmy's not on, he's not a prolific tweeter. But if I felt like Jimmy were doing that, I would just go talk to Jimmy and say, hey, I feel like this is something, I feel like this is a dangerous thing that you're doing. I would just talk to Jimmy. So none of this is a reflection of anyone here, but it is wise counsel. Even Jesus' inner circle jockeyed for favor and position. The people very closest to the Son of God wanted to know, which one of us is the best? And we could too. So it is worth talking about, and it is worth mentioning that it's something that we need to watch out for. Let's talk for a few minutes about gossip. We talked in last summer series about gossip. I think that social media has made participating in harmful and sinful activities easier than ever before. In the first century, what was required to be able to participate in gossip? 1 Timothy 5:13 says, besides that, they learned to be idlers, going about from house to house, and not only idlers, but also gossips and busybodies, saying what they should not. In the first century, being a busybody, being a gossip, required, it is called a busybody. It was work. You had to invest time and effort into sharing and consuming gossip. If you wanted to participate in that sinful activity, you had to invest in it. You had to go from house to house. Participating in gossip through social media is hidden. It's a hidden danger because it's so accessible. You don't have to hide in a corner and whisper about somebody. You don't have to look over your shoulder to make sure that nobody's listening. And that accessibility releases us from this sense of shame about what we're doing. If I were hiding in a corner looking over my shoulder, that would induce shame into me. But when all it takes is clicking a share button, when all it takes is that, it removes some of that innate sense of shame that we might feel. There's a reason that evil and goodness are contrasted as being called works of darkness and works of light. And what social media has allowed us to do is participate in works of darkness in very well lit areas. A problem with social media is that once gossip has been shared in this way, it is impossible. I don't mean it's difficult. When I use the word impossible, that's the word I mean. It is impossible to fix it. You cannot repair the damage that you cause when we share gossip on social media. Let's say that I decide to share some embarrassing or harmful thing about Bob. If I were to go do that from door to door or even person to person, if this were first century Judea and I'm like, I'm going to be a busybody, here we go. And I'm going to go to every door in my village. And then later I repent of that, or I find out the thing that I said wasn't even true, or I lied about it. And I want to go repair the damage that was done. It's going to take some time, but I go back to every door and I knock on the door and say, hey, I need to have another conversation with you. I'm real sorry I shouldn't have done that. I need to fix this. It would take time, but you could do it. By contrast, when we share gossip on social media, there is no way to repair that damage. The toothpaste cannot be put back into the tube. Even if you share a follow-up post and say, my bad, everybody, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. Or, you know what, actually, Like I was double wrong. I lied about it. I made everything up. And I want to fix that. You will never be able to reach all of the same people or even know who those people are. You have no way of knowing who consumed that content. No way of knowing. And if you don't know who consumed it, you have no way of repairing that damage that you have done to someone else's reputation. It's a hidden danger of social media that sharing gossip can happen so quickly, so easily, and without any hope of ever correcting our mistake. It's impossible to correct that mistake. And participating in gossip through social media is a hidden danger because of the way that gossip is often framed. Let's define what we're talking about when we say gossip. For purposes of this conversation, our working definition is going to be something like this: sharing irrelevant, personal information of a harmful or embarrassing nature about other people is what I'm talking about. That's harmful or embarrassing personal information about people that it's unnecessary for you to know. You do not need to know this for any reason, and I'm going to tell you anyway, and it is harmful or embarrassing to someone else. That's what we're talking about. If that is gossip, I want you to take a very careful look at the news that you consume on social media. In the next week, when you see the clickbait news article, ask yourself, is this something that I need to know? And is this something that is harmful or embarrassing to someone else? And if it starts checking those boxes, don't open it. It's gossip. Let me tell you where this struck home for me and where a lot of this is coming from. In the Epstein files, there was a considerable amount of harmful and embarrassing personal information about people. The problem was, it was about people that I was predisposed not to like. And I saw it, and I liked it. Because it was about people that I didn't want them. I thought, these are bad, harmful people. And then whenever I heard bad things about them, I liked hearing bad things about them. And you know what else I liked? I liked knowing that all of you knew bad things about them too. I wanted to hear something bad about people. I was anxious. I anticipated harmful information to be released about them that would finally, and I framed this in my mind as, we're finally bringing to light their evil deeds. And it's the Epstein files, right? And so I framed it in my mind as, this is a matter of national importance. That's why it's my business. Who slept with who? It's because this concerns the nation, everybody. Like, no, it doesn't. None of it has any effect on me. None of it mattered. I remember reading a headline that says, and I won't insert the name, it said, so-and-so mentioned in newly released Epstein scandal emails. And it talked about the kind of scandal. And as I reached to click the button to open the article, I found myself excited to read something very personal and very harmful about someone that I don't even know, that had nothing to do with me. And that's wrong. That is undeniably wrong. It doesn't make it okay that it's easy to access. It doesn't make it okay that it's not whispering in a corner. It doesn't make it okay that it's packaged as news of national importance. It's not news, it's gossip. And it doesn't affect any of us. It doesn't make it okay that it's about strangers. If I came to you with all the juicy details about Bob and Mary's marriage, Bob and Mary are a fictional couple that sit right here. And if I came to you and I said, I've got all the juicy details about their marriage problems, I hope you would stop me in my tracks. That would be the right thing to do, to tell me, stop talking. Don't say that to anyone else either. That's the correct response to that. What makes it okay for a stranger on the internet to share the juicy details of a celebrity's divorce scandal? How is that any different? The answer is that it's not different. None of it is any of our business. It's all gossip. But it's gossip that's been repackaged and easier to access because of social media. I'd like to read a few passages as we look at our last point tonight. Ephesians 4:8. Paul says, "Finally, brothers, whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is just, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is commendable, if there's any excellence, if there's anything worthy of praise, think about these things." Ephesians 4, later in the chapter, Paul says, "Let no corrupting talk come out of your mouths, but only such as is good for building up as fits the occasion, that it may give grace to those who hear." Matthew 5, Jesus says, "You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden, nor do people light a lamp and put it under a basket, but on a stand. And it gives light to all in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, so they may see your good deeds and give glory to your Father who is in heaven." Above all else, a Christian's speech should be truthful. A disciple of Christ is someone who can be trusted. And a hidden danger of social media is that it's so hard to know who to trust and what to believe. Because on the internet, everyone's an expert. All you have to do to be the news on Facebook is a page that's titled News. As evidence of that, I would like to introduce you to First Austin News. I created First Austin News this afternoon in 3 minutes. And now all I have to do is start writing stuff about stuff, and it's from the news. Also, Megan, later I need you to help me delete this. If you go look for it, hopefully by tonight it'll all be gone. You will never find news on First Austin News. But what you find is people, they put like reporter, journalist, news. It's all fake. And I don't mean, I realize I just said fake news. I don't mean that as a political statement. I mean, this is literally fake. It's not real. But all I have to do is title it news. And then I can say anything I want to. There is no standard or accreditation for being the news. You just have to claim to be it. And let's make sure that we all know how the algorithm of social media works. Facebook or any other platform creates a platform, it creates a place for you to share thoughts and ideas and family photos and connect with people you would otherwise lose touch with. And they do that for free. That is a great and wonderful thing. They do it for free. But the question is, why is it free? It seems like that would cost a lot of money. Why don't they charge you for it? Is it from the goodness of their own hearts? The answer is no. They create a place for you, and then they tell their advertisers, hey, look at all of these people who are on our platform every day. For $1, or maybe a lot of dollars, we'll let you advertise products to them. You are the product. They are selling your attention to advertisers. And the more that you're on the platform, the more they can sell. And so how do they keep you there longer? They keep you there longer with the algorithm. The algorithm, they put things in front of you that they know you want to see so that you will be there longer and so that you will come back more often so that they can sell your attention to advertisers. That's why it's free for you, is because they're selling the time that you spend on the platform. And it doesn't matter to them if what you see is true. In fact, the more inflammatory it is, the more likely you are to give it your attention and to share it with other people for them to give it their attention too. There is a direct correlation to the divisiveness in our country and the proliferation of social media. They are directly correlated. This is similar to what we've said about gossip, but not about people. It's about stuff, about events, about pandemics, and about politics. If it's true that what we say and what we consume, we're talking about producing and consuming. If what we produce and what we consume about politics needs to be true and honorable and just and lovely and commendable, Ephesians 4 applies to social media too. Then it's also true that we need to be careful what we choose to consume and share on social media. We need to guard our hearts. We can talk a lot about all of the terrible evils that are on the internet. A hidden danger of social media is that we consume things that inflame us. We are told to think on good and pure and lovely things, and as soon as we get on the phone or we open up the laptop, we are immediately inundated with things that inflame us. And it's not good. If it's true that no corrupting talk should come out of our mouths, only things that are good for building up, Ephesians 4, then it's also true that what we consume and say about politics and social issues should be made with care and consideration for other people. If it's true that we're to be the light of the world like a city set on a hill, Matthew 5, then it should be completely off the table for us to propagate lies or share content that's meant to inflame rather than edify. We're called to be people that build other people up. And this is something that's unique about social media. If you remember, kids, before social media, okay, so like before that, this is early internet days, there was just email. And so we had the same thing back then. If everybody else remembers, I had an aunt that would send me a lot of emails, and it was a chain email. And my aunt, and it was things like, if you use Clorox wipes, your dog is going to walk on the floor and then he licks his feet and they all die of cancer within 24 hours. I know because my neighbor's dog died. This is all true. Share this email right now so all the dogs don't die. That was a very accurate, right? A very accurate representation of what those emails look like. And then you would get 100 of them a day, and they would just go around and around the world nonstop for years. You would get the same one years later. And it wasn't true. And when I would ask my aunt, like, please stop sending me this, it's not true. Like, is this true? She would say things like, and I only pick on my old aunt because I've had the same conversation with Christians my age in reference to social media. It's the same problem now. I would say, is this true? Did you verify this before you told me? And the response that I get is something like, well, it might be. It might be true, so just in case, I'm trying to keep your dog alive, right? And so I share the email because I'm being the better person here. It might be true, so I'm going to say it anyway. Do you do that in any other aspect of your life? Like, do you go to work and share information with your boss? Like, hey, I'm going to share critical crisis information with you right now. Like, is that true? Like, well, I don't know, but it might be. There's a tornado coming. Really? I don't know. Maybe. We don't do that in any other aspect of our lives. But when it comes to social media, because it's so easy to hit the button, it's so easy to share stuff without verifying, and it's almost impossible to verify. So what do we do if we can't verify? Just keep your mouth shut. You treat it like real life. Like you don't have to say everything. We're going to close with Colossians 4 and verse 6. Let your speech always be gracious and seasoned with salt, so that you may know how you ought to answer each person. I appreciate y'all's attention tonight. These are things that are not as obvious, but I think are particularly dangerous because they're not always in your face, like so many other things are. The bell's going to ring within 1 minute, so we're going to go ahead and stop. If parents want to go grab kids. Yeah, thank y'all for your attention.
Good evening. It's good to see everybody out tonight. I just have some announcements to make before we begin closing services. Do keep in mind, we for VBS, we got a workday coming up and that will be held at Mustang on July 11th, as well as we're going to be trying to pass out the flyers as well that day for some VBS, just meet and greet at people at the neighborhoods around. And if you have any questions about that, you can see Dusty about that, and we'll be happy to get coordinated on those. Other than that, that's kind of more immediate things. For our church family here, Homer and Valeria Villarreal need our prayers for their family. Homer's sister, Dora Martinez, was involved in a serious car accident, has sustained some serious injuries. Additionally, Homer's brother-in-law, Peter Falcon, has upcoming heart surgery and requests us to lift both of them up in our prayers for swift recovery and healing. As well as Erin Betts, we want to continue to keep in mind her treatment for her cancer and continued healing. But she's also requested prayers for her recently newborn nephew who has undergone surgery within, I believe, 4 days of his birth and now has a staph infection. And so we want to please just remember to lift him up as well as his parents during this uncertain and anxious time for them. We want to keep in mind, Imogene Hodges will have an upcoming cataract surgery on July 1st. I believe that's next week. And continue to lift up Bowen Matting as he improves. Hopefully he'll have his central line removed soon. And keep lifting up Danny Meek and Austin Zindler after their recent surgeries, that they'll continue to heal. That's the extent of the announcements for our church family that I have for prayer requests. And as far as our closing services, we'll be led by James Hopkins for our invitation. Ben Smith will bring us our invitation song, and then we'll be closed out by Parker Wise in prayer.
If you'd like to turn to Luke chapter 15, we'll be reading from there here in just a minute. Luke chapter 15. Noah's sermon on Sunday has been on my mind for longer than since Noah preached it. He preached about death, and there were some more things that he talked on Sunday. But there was something that happened at work several weeks ago that kind of got my mind rolling on this. At Mustang, I manage about five guys, and a couple weeks ago I got a call from one of them, and he had walked into a house to do just a normal walk on a normal day, and he found a guy laying there, very injured, very, very injured. And he walked up and he said, "Hey man, you okay?" The guy's like, "Yeah, I hurt my shoulder." It's like, "Well, do you want me to call 911? Want me to call emergency services?" No, I just need to go to sleep. I just need to sleep it off. I'll be okay. I'll be okay. Well, from talking with him, he wasn't okay, and he didn't realize it. So we did call emergency services, got them there, and they took him to the hospital, which he desperately needed. And he's doing fine. He's recovering just great. But he didn't realize the severity of the situation he'd found himself in. He didn't realize how injured he was. And what hit me is oftentimes we can find ourselves in a similar spot. We can find ourselves drifting farther and farther from the Lord, and we don't realize how far we're walking. In Luke chapter 15, we see a parable, starting in verse 1. It says, "Now the tax collectors and sinners were all drawing near to him, and the Pharisees and the scribes grumbling, saying, 'This man receives sinners, and he eats with them.' So he told them this parable, 'What man of you, having 100 sheep, if he has lost one of them, does not leave the 99 in the open country and go after the one that is lost until he finds it? And when he has found it, he lays it on his shoulders, rejoicing. And when he comes home, he calls together his friends and his neighbors, saying to them, "Rejoice with me, for I have found my sheep that was lost." Just so I tell you, there will be more joy in heaven over one sinner who repents than over 99 righteous persons who need no repentance." That guy that one of the guys I managed found, he probably wouldn't have made it if my manager hadn't found him. He probably wouldn't have made it. He probably would have gone to sleep, and he may not have woke up. And he didn't even realize he was that hurt. While we're still wandering, while we're still asleep, Jesus left the 99 to come find us. And I love in this parable it says, and he puts the sheep on his shoulders, and he takes that sheep home. Right? Jesus will lift you up. He will carry you. He wants to save you. He wants to help you. We know from Romans 5 that while we were still in our sin, he died for us. That way we wouldn't have to suffer the consequences of our sin. We're in a pretty busy season right now. Summers get real busy for everybody. And so what I'm hoping for tonight is it's a check. How are you doing today? Are you wandering, or are you walking with the Lord? If you're wandering, let's fix that tonight. If we can help you in any way, please let us know as we stand and sing.
While the light from the throne shines for you and me, let us listen to the call of love. Zion's call is ringing, coming from the throne above. While we hear it ringing, let us heed the call of love. On the road to the goal, burdens we must bear, but we have help from realms above. We receive courage new when we kneel in prayer. Let us listen to the call of love. Zion's call is ringing, coming from the throne above. While we hear it ringing, let us heed the call of love. While we tarry below, there is work to do, and our strength cometh from above. As we labor and wait, we must all be true. Let us listen to the call of love. Zion's call is ringing, coming from the throne above. While we hear it ringing, let us heed the call of love. This time be dismissed in prayer.
Would you pray with me? Lord God, our Father in heaven above, we come to you now at the close of this day and this service.
thanking you for an opportunity to receive lessons from your word, to sing praises to you, to be edified, and to edify one another. We thank you for your Son, Jesus Christ, for the gospel, that while we were yet in our sins, you sent him to die for us so that we could be saved, even though we did not know even how far away from you we were, and that we were dead in our trespasses. And now in him we have life and salvation and hope. Father, we have a number who are recovering from operations and injuries. We thank you that you've carried them safe thus far, and we pray that you would continue to restore them. There are a number who are currently battling infections or awaiting operations, and we pray that you would be with them as well, that you would give them the healing that they need, and that you would be with those who are looking after them, that you would give them the wisdom and the skill that is necessary to care for them in the way that they need. As we look forward to Vacation Bible School, we pray that you would be with those who are operating that they would be able to carry things out to the best of their ability, and that the children that are served by that would be edified and brought closer to you by that. We pray